Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome to the channel. My name is Eric, and on this channel, we pretty much talk about TradeStation, EasyLanguage, the programming language for TradeStation. So today we're going to be talking about arrays. If you know a lot about the market and you understand that data is important, you want to be able to store data and retrieve it. Well, an array is a way to do that. An array pretty much is it's like a table of elements. So you can have a single column of data, which would be a single dimensional array. You can have a multiple columns of data, which would be like a two-dimensional array, or three-dimensional array, which would be like a spreadsheet of data with multiple sheets or multiple layers. So today we're going to be talking about a two-dimensional array, and essentially what I have set up here is what we're going to be looking at. So we're going to start with this time point here of 13:35 or 1:35 in the afternoon, and we're going to target 1, 2, the third bar out, and we'll figure out a way to do that. But we're going to target this bar here. So we're going to store a few things in the array. We're going to store the low. We're going to store the volume, the low, the 9-period moving average, the volume, and the range. We're going to try to store those things. And if I end up storing something different, then just let me know. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, by all means, leave them in the comments or join us on Discord. I can usually get back to you quicker there. But stop the video along the way so you can try to keep up with the video if you do plan on programming along with me. Plate. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to put a couple plots down here. These plots down here are essentially what you saw up there. So we're going to have plot 1. We'll plot the low or the close, whatever. Plot 2, we're going to plot the 9-period moving average, which is my function for the 9-period moving average. Plot 3 is going to be the volume, which is represented by ticks, and then plot 4 will be the range. Okay, and then we verify that. Now we got a bunch of stuff here. We have to put all these plots in crosses or something like that. There's a cross, that's a cross, that's a cross, that's a cross, that's a cross. Don't connect, don't connect. Okay, is that how I wanted it? No, I think I did want it. Let's make it a line. You know what? What's throwing us off is the range and the ticks. Because the low and the 9-period moving average are going to be, in the same ballpark. Okay, all right. So we can't put the ticks on there in the range, but we could. But we're just not going to because it's going to mess up our scale. Okay, so let's go on down. Let's make an array. All right, so we know that at the top for any of our variables, we have to declare them. var, that. We're going to have a count. And then for our arrays, let's come back up here. You have to declare it like this. You don't declare it in the variables. You declare it separately with an array. Or if you had like a constant, it'd be like that. Okay, but this is an array, so we'll start off with array. We'll call it a hold, and because it's like an array and we're holding, and then our initial variables or our dimensions. We're gonna have two dimensions separated by a comma. So our first dimension, which is essentially the number of rows going down, we're gonna have a maximum of 21. And remember, it has a 0 index as well, so 0 plus 20 makes 21. And as far as the number of columns that we have, we only need to store 4 things. So we can put 3 here because it has a 0. I'll tell you what, let's put 4. Typically, if you're going to do anything with the calculations using the TradeStation functions for array, you don't want to use a 0 index. So we're not going to use a 0 index. We're going to use the, start with the first index. Okay. All right, so 20 down, 4 over. Got it? Count needs to be initially declared with a value, 0. And also, your array, even though you have the dimensions there, you have to put an initial value there too. Okay? That. Verify, no issues. Okay, so now if the time is equal to t is time, you can just put t. If t is equal to 1335, then plot 5. We're going to plot it at we'll plot it at the high. Okay, go over here and make sure that it shows up properly. Plot 5 will be across. Don't connect. It's just one It's just one plot. Okay, you see it shows up here? That's 1335. Okay, 1335 is this candle right here. All right, so 1335 is this candle right here. So we actually want to print on this candle right here. So that is, if we call this 0, well, we can call it whatever we want to because we're going to put it in the first index anyway. So this will be index 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Okay, so if we get to 1335, then we're going to have a condition we turn on. We'll have it called start array. Start off as false. Now, if the time is equal to 1335, then we're going to go ahead and turn this array, essentially allow it to start capturing data. Because all through here, we don't want to capture any of this, don't want to capture any of this. So once we get to 1335, that's when we need to start saying, okay, let's start paying attention. So start array will be equal to true. Okay, so if start array is equal to true, then we're going to take whatever count that we have, and that's going to be equal to our value here. Okay, no, our value, our first dimension. Okay, so now we need to look at the counts because the count needs to start. Now we could start the count here. Tell you what, if the time is equal to 1335, we're also going to count is equal to 1, and that's okay because our count we're going to start it at 1. Okay, and then on every bar, if count is greater than or equal to 1, then count plus equals 1. And this means that on all these bars over here where count is 0, because remember, count started off at 0. All these other bars where it's 0, the count will not add to it. It won't add to it. It will only add to it when the count is greater than or equal to 1. And when does it become greater than or equal to 1? It becomes 1 once we get to 1335. Once we get to 1335, it becomes 1. Now this next one will be allowed to be 2 and 3 and 4. Got it? Okay. All right, so now that we know that 4 will be right here, what do we do with it? Okay, so let me go ahead and verify this first, no issues. Okay, so above the plot, we're going to have a method. And we're going to say if time is greater than or equal to 1335 and count is greater than or equal to 1, then and count is less than or equal to what? 21 is the most we can go. Remember, 20 plus that 0 of 1, that index of 0 adds another 1 to it. But we're going to start at the index of 1, so we go from 1 to 20. So we only want 20 or less. Okay. So now if we go beyond 20, it's going to say that we're outside the bounds of the array. All right. So as long as the time is greater than 1335, so we know we're on this right side of the equation. All right, and the count is greater than or equal to 1, which 1 started right here, and we're going to go until we get to 20, and then we'll stop saving. Then I'm going to put hold array. So it's going to hold the values in the array, and this is going to be a method, so we're going to send through the method the variable count, right? Okay, so up here, we're going to have a method void hold array. And inside the method, what's being passed into it? That count, but it's going to be an integer, and we'll just call that y. And then we're going to have begin, and then we'll have end. So when that y comes into here, what are we going to do with that y? Well, that y is this first dimension here, right? So the first dimension of what? Of the array called a hold. So a hold of that y, and then the second dimension, remember the second dimension is like the columns. So the first column, column 1, will be the low. Okay. And then a hold of y, the second column, will be SA9, the 9-period moving average. And then a hold of y, third column, is is equal to the volume, the ticks. And then a hold of the fourth column is equal to range. It's out of here. All right, verified, no issues. Okay, so now that it's in there, we're going to clear this print log down here. We're going to say if we're the last bar on the chart, and if you were on there with me yesterday, you know that I created a new function for last bar on chart EX. It's just you know what? I didn't. I had one for bar number, but this one I made just earlier today. Last X is the same thing as last bar on chart. So if last bar on chart EX, then we're going to print. What are we going to print? We're going to print a hold of. We want to capture this. If this is position 1, 2, 3, 4, we want to capture the fourth position. And what do we want? We want to capture the range. Not range. I'm sorry. Range will be this. Be the fourth column or the fourth index in that second dimension. Essentially, it'll be the fifth index, but who's counting? Everybody's counting. Everybody's counting. Okay, so we verify that. You see here we get 12. Okay, so we could put range is comma. Okay, so range is 12. Okay, now if you wanted to do find the volume instead, then you need it of what, the third. Well, let's do this. Tell you what, let's just copy this whole thing. And then we'll get a second row. So that'll be volume, and volume is in the what position? The third position. Or essentially the fourth, because remember it's zero base. Bam! Okay, so the range is 12, and the volume is 2,390, what is that? 23,935? All right, so let's see if the volume, let's pull up the volume here. I think I have it under simple. All right. Volume. On this bar, the volume is 23,935. Okay, so that's an easy way to capture data, store it, and retrieve it when you want to. Just kind of need to understand a little bit about arrays. Now, when I first kind of started off programming, I learned about arrays because I didn't know anything else. But I quickly moved on over to vectors and dictionaries and that kind of thing, because you can do. I feel like you can do a little bit more with it. The arrays, you got to be in the right position. Now, when you're making spreadsheets or when you're exporting data over to spreadsheets and stuff like that, these are great because they actually hold a position. Like a dictionary holds a position from a key. A vector is just stack, 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 stack. So it has no appreciable order, if you will. But arrays, they do. They have a location. So location is great. But if you just want to kind of stack and store information and you don't need a location for the information, then a vector is awesome. So anyway, this is the array for you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm Eric. I'm out. Peace.